Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. JLR Investigates. Come on in. Come on in, everyone. We're going to talk about a situation and a terrible, terrible tragedy out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. We're going to talk about this case right here. See the thumbnail? We want to thank Magnolia for making these wonderful thumbnails when we're covering these true crime cases. Pure evil, folks. Doesn't get any worse than this. This is a case I was not even aware of, and I'm sure many of you are not aware of this case too. Some might now, but I wasn't aware of this prior to a few hours ago. We're talking about this individual, Avantae Deven, 63 years old. She's in the center of this photograph, folks. And she's arrested for the unthinkable. Did something to her two children seen here. Now, these are pictures of her two children from many, many years ago who vanished. Blake and London Deven. Blake and London. And I don't know how these two children that vanished years ago were able to stay under the radar for this long. But there's been arrest in the case. And we're going to talk about it. What in the world is going on? More pure evil, folks. Come on in, let's talk. So this individual is 63 years old, and the Fayetteville, North Carolina Police Department put out a statement. They actually gave a press conference, and there's numerous news reports out there. There's also a 911 call, apparently a 911 call. I think what broke this case was the 911 call earlier this year. So where to start? Because there's just so much stuff. And actually, to be honest, it's so overwhelming here and so confusing that I really don't have my head wrapped around this particular case yet with all the facts. So let's try to understand the facts together. Let's try to get an understanding of what's going on. Because the media outlets are circulating. She's currently in custody. She was apparently in court. No bond. Thank God. Another evil monster. Another evil person. Let's start out with this report. Let's start out with a new report. And we'll go around and we'll listen to the press conference. We'll listen to the news reports. Get details about this case. Pay attention. Apparently, she's from the New Mexico, Las Vegas area, and she worked her way to North Carolina, and we're talking about her, the evil mom, 63. It seems like some of the children vanished. She adopted, but here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing is, she, adopted numerous people. I think she adopted 5 children. 3 were boys, 2 were girls. The 3 boys were all biological siblings. That's the way I'm reading it. But how in the world did this monster in the center here get care of 5 children? I tried to do a background search on her. I couldn't really find much. What's going on here? We got maybe some adoption fraud going on, collection of money. Who could do these evil acts to their own children? And again, this is a adopted mom. Like, she adopted these children. I don't know who failed here, but it's wow. So let's look. Here's what it says. And she faces the death penalty, by the way, for this. If, again, capital murder case, capital charges, will be the poster child for the death penalty for sure.
We offer skilled nursing services.
So let's do something here. Let's turn something off. Hold on a second. I got all kinds of different buzzing going on. All right, we're going to start out with this report right here. New North Carolina mother faces death penalty. Police say she murdered adopted children, Blake and London Deven. So let's turn the volume up. Let's get this report, and then we're going to listen to a police press conference. Let's rock.
Monique John has been following this disturbing story very closely. She's live now at the Cumberland County Courthouse with what happened today. Monique.
Joel, Avantae Deven looked like she was on the verge of tears as she walked into the courtroom today. She's now facing a maximum sentence of a death sentence as she's been charged with 5 felonies, including first-degree murder and child abuse. A warning, some viewers may find this story disturbing. Just over an hour ago, the judge ruled Deven will be held without bond until her next probable cause hearing next month. A decision Deven's lawyer in court today didn't contest, citing the gruesomeness of Deven's accusations.
Well, I know the allegations can't be any worse. They're very serious. Don't know much about the case. Haven't been involved in the case very long. I do trust and have complete confidence in our judiciary.
The abhorrent details of the Fayetteville police's allegations against Deven laid out in the arrest warrant ABC 11 picked up at the courthouse today. The warrant says Deven convinced a family friend to pose as Blake during a social services visit to conceal the fact that Blake was already dead. It also says another adopted child ran away from home after Blake was allegedly murdered. Then it says Deven lied to one of her adoptees, saying that she put London Deven in a mental institution, all in an effort, according to investigators, to cover up London's death.
The allegations are certainly some of the worst that I've seen in doing this almost 25 years now.
But it doesn't end there. In addition to allegedly forcing one of the household members to help dispose of the siblings' bodies, investigators revealed Avantae could be seen in surveillance footage buying a cooler from a Walmart with 2 of her other adopted children, the remains of one of the children found in a red cooler, just like the video, according to investigators. And there continue to be heartbreaking details of what these children allegedly endured under Avantae Deven's care. In that arrest warrant, it concludes by saying that Deven allegedly tried to manipulate one of her children into taking the blame for these deaths. It really is just a terrible situation if these deaths ever reach the light of day. More in the 5 o'clock hour.
Wow. So that's some key details. We're talking about getting other people to help her assist and concealment and try to hide the fact that one of the childs was missing by having another child pose as that child. I mean, we're getting some Lori Vallow-Daybell vibes here. You know, where are the children? So let's listen to authorities because they give about a 10-minute press conference. We're going to pay attention to this case. I cannot believe these people continue to do these things. Evil. Absolute, pure evil.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Chief Kim Braden of the Fayetteville Police Department. Thank you for coming today. I know some of you have traveled a great distance over only a few hours' notice. We have an important news to share, a significant update to an investigation that has understandably attracted a lot of attention from our community and beyond. In early April, we announced the sad news of 2 young people, Blake and London Deven, who were reported missing. Since then, the Fayetteville detectives, the FBI agents, have followed hundreds of leads and conducted dozens of interviews. Our investigation has led us to evidence that both Blake and London are currently deceased. This morning, between 9 and 11, we arrested the adopted mother, Avantae Deven, at her home located at 1433 Berrydale Drive. At this time, I would like to turn over to Sergeant Locklear to provide information that he can share at this time.
Good evening. My name is Sergeant Jeff Locklear, the Fayetteville Police Department's Homicide Unit. As Chief Braden said, Avantae Deven was arrested this morning. She's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of felony child abuse, 1 count of kidnapping, 2 counts of concealment of death. Now, I'll briefly detail the evidence that has led us to these charges today. In November of 2023, officers with the Fayetteville Police Department responded to a call at the Deven home on Berrydale Drive for a mental health crisis. Officers contacted the Cumberland County Department of Social Services, who quickly responded. The victim later told officials he had not seen his brother, Blake, after he had been interviewed. That mental health crisis we're talking about, when we got there and we began to do the interviews, the victim that was going through the mental health crisis told authorities that he had not seen his brother Blake. in 5 years, and that the last time he had seen him, he had a broken arm, and that he's now dead. As detectives began to unravel the facts, we discovered 5 children were adopted by Avantae Deven from 3 different North Carolina counties. The 3 boys were biologically related. The 2 girls were also adopted. They were unrelated to each other and also unrelated to the boys. In multiple interviews, information was provided detailing appalling conditions at least 3 of these children apparently grew up in. Avantae Deven is said to have kept them in small rooms in complete darkness at times. They were given little food, they were given little or no food, and could earn nourishment through, by quote, doing paperwork. That means they had to write hundreds of paragraphs to apologize for behaving. It is alleged some of the children were also beaten to the point of needing medical care, but only natural cures like honey were given. The investigation uncovered Blake likely passed away while the Deven family lived at the Eichelberger Drive home. We believe he was mentally abused. He was physically starved, and his body could no longer take the inhumane treatment. Then, Avantae developed a plan to hide Blake's remains, and she forced another person in the household to participate. They dismembered him and burned his remains. During a forensic search of a previous residence of the Deven family, biological evidence was located and sent to the crime lab for further testing. These items did support evidence of isolation, torture, and starvation. When investigators began to look into Blake's disappearance, they learned that 28-year-old London Deven had also not been seen in quite some time. By now, the Deven family had moved to a home on Berrydale Drive. Interviews uncovered information that a different member of the household had been forced to participate in removing London's body from that home. She is believed to have died in the same painful way, in the same painful, callous manner that Blake died from, little starvation and neglect. Additional information led Fayetteville Police Department's detectives to locate a metal burn barrel. When the contents were removed and a methodical process to preserve any evidence inside, partial human remains were found. Forensic testing confirmed the barrel contained two separate sets of human remains. One is consistent with a female between 15 to 19 years of age. The second set is consistent with a child from 7 to 10 years of age. Now you need to keep in mind that those are general ranges. Due to the condition of the remains and the need to expedite the testing, we sent the remains to a private accredited lab. In the last week, the first round of testings confirmed one set of remains belongs to London Deven. Testing on the second set of human remains is ongoing. Fayetteville detectives have confirmed Blake Deven has been missing since 2017. Avantae only reported Blake missing after our investigation began. Avantae never reported London missing. The last confirmed independent sighting of London was in 2019. Even though London was an adult, she had special needs and depended on Avantae to care for her. I'm going to turn it back over to Chief Braden and to open it up for questions before we open up some questions.
It's difficult to explain the amount of work it took us to get where we're at today. The Fayetteville Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Cumberland County District Attorney's Office have worked countless hours on this case. We did not do it alone. There are over 20 other agencies that are credited to assisting in this investigation. We will name each one of these organizations in our follow-up release. But first, I'd like to turn it back over. We'll open the floor for questions from the press.
Where specifically were the remains found that he mentioned?
So those remains were located in an address in Orchardville, community of Cumberland County.
Is that the same address that that the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office
Yes,
assisted you with?
Yes, one. What happened in
March that prompted the police to put out the first press release about the incident?
Well, go ahead, Chief.
I would say that we were attempted to initiate this investigation, looking for people who may have had information that could help us investigate further into the complaint about the missing juveniles.
Why exactly did it take this long to arrest her if the first 911 call came out a while ago and then finally the press release that we got late March, early April, but now we're seeing an arrest? Why so long?
Great question.
There's an investigative process, to make sure that we have the case secured, we meet the elements of the crime, and we present something to the district attorney's office that's prosecutable. We want to ensure the integrity of that case and the quality of that case is there. So.
And I understand that. My thing is, she reported that she hadn't seen Blake since late 2022. Here we are in 2024. And she's coming forward with this. At the minimum, I believe if anyone else were to do that, negligence would have been brought up way sooner.
All right. And to be fair, we have to investigate the claims and truly find out, take into account what actually happened, not just what we believe happened.
Well, what I'm getting at is, this is the adoptive mother saying, I have not seen my child. The last time was in 2022. We're a year plus later. Why were charges, nothing brought up since then?
So initially, she's giving us a story that Blake was possibly at a Buddhist retreat in the mountains. So, of course, it takes time to run that kind of information down. I'm sorry. A Buddhist retreat, I'm sorry.
Buddhist?
Yep. So there was some semblance of a story. Blake, yes, sir. There was some semblance of a story as to where he may have been. Right?
Did you follow up on that?
So it takes time. I got to say that I use often in the office. We'll measure twice, so we have to cut once. Right?
When did you arrest her?
When did we arrest her? This morning.
This morning?
Yes.
Are there any additional charges that she could be facing in relevance at all to her mother's death? Her mother died, I believe, a month ago in the hospital, and she was taken there, was on a ventilator for some time, and I believe the Cumberland County Department of Social Services even petitioned to have her removed and even have her assets frozen because of fear that Avantae Deven was exploiting her bank account.
Sure.
And I would say this, we're presenting today the charges that we fully investigated and we feel comfortable moving forward with at this time.
Where did you arrest her?
She was arrested at her home by our fugitive team of violent criminal apprehension team.
Where?
1433 Berrydale Drive.
You mentioned that there was someone else in the home who had helped. Who was that?
We're not going to get into specifics about that.
We're going to be charged?
There's some things that we just won't be able to answer.
Understood.
Last question, over here.
How was she when you arrested her?
Cooperative.
All right. I thank everybody for joining us today.
Yeah. We support the police, but I mean, come on here now, folks. This doesn't smell right. It seems like failures all across the board. I was questioning the adoption agency. Now I'm questioning the police department. It's been brought to their attention a while back, and they've known this, and it took all this time. It's just weird. That's why I'm not understanding this. It's still a little bit confusing. I'm trying to put these pieces together, and maybe you guys can do it for me, and we can try to evaluate this situation together. But this is shocking. It seems like there's been a lot of failures across the board on numerous agencies here, and maybe they're all passing the buck on to each other. I don't know. How was she able to get 5 children and then move to different locations and whatnot, and children going missing, and other children covering for children, and them doing welfare checks and not validating whoever they're claiming they're being, and not, or they show an ID. What in the world's going on here in Fayetteville, North Carolina? I'm at a loss for words. All right, so this is her mugshot here. They put out a statement. The Fayetteville Police Department says Avantae Deven, she is 63, has been charged in connection with the disappearance of Blake in London. Avantae is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of concealment of death, 1 count of kidnapping related to London Deven's death, and 2 counts of felony child, you know that word, related to Blake Deven's death. Avantae is being held at the Cumberland County Detention Center with no bond. And it further states, let me show you what it further states, but I just want to show you and hold her mugshot up at the same time, because we gotta expose this evil. And, at the same time, bringing awareness to this case might hold authorities accountable, because I think there's been some failures here across the board. What do you think? So it says partial human remains found during this investigation were forensically tested and were determined to belong to 2 people. A private accredited lab confirmed 1 set of remains belonged to London. Testing on the 2nd set of human remains believed to belong to Blake is ongoing. So the second on Blake is still ongoing, yet they had enough probable cause to arrest for Blake. Interesting. The investigation is ongoing. The Fayetteville Police Department continues to work with law enforcement partners in other jurisdictions, which could result in additional charges. What about the person that assisted inside that home that they didn't identify? Who's that? Is that an adult or is that a child? What in the world's going on here? The Fayetteville Police Department would like to thank the following agencies. So now here's a clap, everyone, patting each other on the back. There has been a lot of agencies that investigated this matter. They say the Fayetteville Forensics Unit, Police Special Victims Youth Unit, Fayetteville 911 Communications, FBI, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, the Cumberland County District Attorney's Office, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, Cumberland County Department of Social Services, Buncombe County Sheriff's Office, Buncombe County Department of Social Services, Madison County Sheriff's Office, Madison County Department of Social Services, New Braunfels Police Department in Texas, Sedona Police Department in Arizona, Arizona State Prison Complex, Lewis in Arizona, United States Army Criminal Investigation Division. I mean, what in the world's going on here? United States Postal Service, Broward County Sheriff's Office in Florida, North Carolina Office Chief Medical Examiner, North Carolina State University Human Identification and Forensic Analysis Laboratory, the BODE, B-O-D-E Technology, North Carolina Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Cape Fear Valley Medical Center and Vital Statistics, the Child Advocacy Center, Cumberland County Schools, North Carolina Department of Non-Public Instruction, and the Fayetteville Public Works Commission. What in the world's going on here? That was like a billion and zillion agencies. Is this a multiple, what? I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Can someone speak, please? Fill me in. Who's from Fayetteville, North Carolina that can fill us in on this? How is this woman being able to stay on the streets, 63 years old, when 2 children went missing? Like, one was what, 20, or one was like 2019 and 2022 years ago? And how was she able to adopt 5 people, five children? How was she able to adopt 5 children? Here's some more information here that's, so it says, missing and endangered update. And so what they're saying here is the Fayetteville Police Department and the FBI need the public's assistance to build a timeline of exactly when and where 17-year-old Blake Deven and 27-year-old London Deven were last seen. The Deven family moved to Fayetteville in 2015. In November 6, 2016, they moved to Iceberger Drive, where they lived until June of 2019. The family who currently lives at home are not related to this investigation or fully cooperating. The Deven family then moved to the Berrydale Drive, where they still currently live. Investigators are asking anyone who visit these addresses, delivered something, bought something, sold something, repaired something, or saw something to contact the police. So they don't even have a timeline here. They're still looking into this. It says here, during the investigation to locate 17-year-old Blake Deven and 27-year-old London, the Fayetteville Police Department and FBI developed information that led Fayetteville detectives to locate partial skeletal remains. The remains were sent to the North Carolina Office of Chief Medical Examiner to be examined. At this time, investigators not confirmed who the remains belong to. Testing could take weeks or months and do not always result in positive identification. The remains were not located at the home, the Berrydale Drive. So where were they located? That was April 12th, 2024. So this is basically something that goes back, but when did these children actually go missing? Can someone fill me in? And then what's up with this 911 call? So I'm gonna play this 911 call. Apparently there was a 911 call, and this is coming from the source. I'm gonna show you the source of this 911 call. It's right here.
January 19th, 2024, 13 hours.
Finding Nijo. So this is coming from a Finding Nijo. It's a YouTube channel, so we're giving this individual credit here. They apparently have a 911 call from this year of her, like, reporting stuff. So we're gonna listen to this call because it is circulating, and it maybe gives an understanding of what's going on here.
January 19th, 2024, 13 hours, 16 minutes, 59 seconds.
Fayetteville 911, what's that? Just your emergency? All right, say that address one more time for me, please. Drive. Alrighty, and what's the phone number you're calling from in case we get disconnected? Sure. Thank you, and what's your name? Is that correct? Yes, I'm not. Alright, tell me exactly what happened. No, I need to file a missing persons report. Alright. I was told to call 911. Alrighty, yes ma'am, and tell me exactly who's missing. He'll be 18 May 10th. So your 17-year-old son is missing? Yes. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty, and he's 17, is that correct? Yes. Alrighty, I need to get your son's. Okay, I need to get your son's description, starting with his race. Is he white, black, Asian, Hispanic? Yes, he is white, Caucasian, with blondish brown hair. What was he last seen wearing? Oh goodness, I don't even know, ma'am. He told me he was going to a Buddhist retreat and never called back. When was that, ma'am? A year ago. So when he was 16, he told you he was going to a... No. I called a year ago. He was already 17, and he just turned 17, I believe. Okay, so you called it a year ago. When did this happen, ma'am? I'm calling now. I understand. It happened. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I understand you're calling now. What I'm trying to determine is when he told you he was going on a Buddhist retreat and never came home. It was a year ago. So January 19th, 2023? It was somewhere around there, a little before. It was around the holidays, I would say December. It was between Thanksgiving and December. So he was 16 at the time because his birthday's in May, correct? Okay, yes. Okay. All right. Give me just 1 second while I get this closer. What's his name? What's his last name, ma'am? What's his date of birth? And this is your son, is that correct? Yes. Do you think he is a runaway? I think so, but he is generally religious, and he used to go back and forth about a Buddhist retreat and meditation, things like that, but this time he never called back. And my daughter did that once for 6 months, and she called, so I thought, okay. It's hard, he's very independent, high-strung, and very bossy, so it's not really unlikely of his character, but... I'm sorry, ma'am, what was your question? I'm very upset here. Oh, I understand you're very upset. Do you think he's a runaway? I would say so, yes. Does he have any physical, medical, or mental conditions we need to be aware of? Not really, no. When you say not really, what do you mean? He was diagnosed with static encephalopathy when he was younger, but... That's good. Alrighty. You said he was with encephalopathy? Static encephalopathy, yes. Alright. And I'm just updating my dispatchers. Give me just 1 second. That's fine. Alrighty, ma'am? Yes. Okay. So, where was he at when he went missing? Was he at Berrydale address, or where was he located when he was missing? I don't know where he called me from. I have no idea, to be honest with you, ma'am. Okay, where was the last place he was seen? Oh, goodness. I would say a restaurant. What restaurant do you think was going on? One moment now, I'm trying to backtrack here. Oh, gosh. Oh, the neighborhood mart. The neighborhood mart? Yes. And do you know where that's located at? Yes, it's on, Pamela, I believe. Pamela Ramsey. I don't even know if it's open anymore. The Walmart? It's a neighborhood mart. Right. I believe they closed it. Okay. So they've closed where he was last seen. Okay, give me just a second. Okay. Alrighty, ma'am. And so, the neighborhood mart was on what streets again? I believe it's on Pamela and Ramsey. I'm not quite sure. It's on the corner over there, across from a gas station. And prior to that, he was here. Alrighty, ma'am. And are you at now? I am, yes. Okay. I am. When did you last see him? I believe when I told you during this holiday time, about a year and a half ago. So, what holiday time? The last holiday, it was between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Around 2023 or 2022? Oh, goodness gracious. 22. Okay. Ma'am, so I need you to make a list of his friends, including their addresses and phone numbers, and if he is located, call us back immediately. An officer will be dispatched to you as soon as possible. Call us back if anything changes, you have any further information, or your son returns. Do you have a good phone number for your son? No, I don't. I don't have any phone number. Okay. Do you have the number he called you from? Oh, goodness, that was a long time ago. I don't have that number. No, I don't even have that phone. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah. Alrighty, ma'am. So, I'll have officers out to you as soon as possible. Is there anything else I can help you with? That's it for now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So bizarre, folks. Like, this was a call that January this year, and she's reporting that her son went missing about a year and a half before that. But remember, folks, authorities were already investigating her in the fall. And was this a cover-up or to try to cover her tracks? And just a couple months prior to this call in the fall of last year, that's when authorities were coming out on a welfare check. Then, after this welfare check, apparently, I don't know what they did. I guess she used someone else as a ruse. Then she calls 911 earlier this year to report him missing 1 year prior. What in the world? Yeah, the 911 calls have to fix. They got to fix that, man. And a lot of stuff was redacted. That's why you heard the boop, because they didn't want to put the social and address and everything like that. That's cool. But man, this is pure evil. I'm having a little bit of reporting when people went missing years ago. I'm having a little bit of Adam Montgomery and his them up there in New Hampshire. I'm having a little bit of Lori Vallow-Daybell vibes here. What in the world? What in the world? She knew she had to try to cover her tracks and put a ruse that, oh, he just went to a Buddhist. He just went to a Buddhist camp. Where? I don't know.
Breaking news in Fayetteville. Police have arrested Avantae Deven and charged her with murder and kidnapping. She adopted Blake and London Deven, who've been missing for years. The police department says they now believe the siblings are dead. They also say the two, along with other children, were held in small rooms, starved and brutally beaten in that house.
We have live team coverage. WRL's Heidi Kirk is explaining the evidence police say led to this arrest. We begin with WRL's Chris Lovingood, who has been speaking with people connected to this case since police first announced the boy's disappearance. Chris?
Deborah, we know Avantae Deven had 5 children who she adopted, including one woman who used to go by the name Cherish Deven, but now goes by the name Brianna Morrow. In fact, I talked to her not too long ago, and I want to play for the first time here in WREL part of my conversation with her.
Brianna Morrow talked to me last month in an interview we are now airing for the first time because Avantae Deven has been charged. Morrow described what she experienced.
Being locked in the bathroom, having to, if we weren't locked in the bathroom, having to use pails as the restroom. There were a lot of beatings because we would steal for food just to survive.
She spoke with me about the abuse she says they suffered.
She would just drag you down by your hair and beat you.
Fayetteville police say the children were forced to do paperwork, something Morrow says became their only way to get food.
The older you got, the more paragraphs you had to do. So by the time I was 15, I was doing from top to the page to the bottom of the page, and that would count as one page. So imagine one page, 2,000 pages.
She mentioned locks on the fridge and cabinets and being locked in the bathroom for long periods of time.
Days at a time. It was very horrible. You know, there were days where we didn't go with showers. We didn't go with baths. The only time we could turn on the bathtub or the sink was to get water.
And those are just hard details to hear. But it's also been a hard day for Blake Deven's biological mother. In fact, I talked to her minutes after police had revealed that her son was dead.
I was in shock. It just took my breath away. I wasn't expecting to hear about 2 remains at the time.
But she has adoption.
Again, that was Blake's biological mother you heard from there. But today, what's also a new point of this is we're seeing Avantae Deven for the first time today. In fact, she's the adoptive mother and the woman accused of these murders. And right now, WREL's Heidi Kirk is in the neighborhood where Avantae Deven lives. And Heidi, you were in the exact same room with me today as police were revealing what exactly happened here.
Chris, and today when police shared those jarring details, it was just absolutely a shock to hear some of those things. Now, Avantae Deven was booked here at the Cumberland County Jail where I'm standing earlier today, and now she's facing 7 charges for the murder of Blake and London Deven.
Fayetteville police say it all started with a call about a mental health crisis at Avantae Deven's home on Berrydale Drive. As police investigated, the person in crisis said the last time they'd seen their brother, Blake, was 5 years ago. And that led to the appalling details we learned today about how they say Avantae treated all 5 of her adopted kids.
Avantae Deven is said to have kept them all, or kept them in small rooms in complete darkness at times. They were given little food. They were given little or no food.
Starvation and torture. That's how Fayetteville police say Blake Deven died years ago at the family's first Fayetteville home on Eichelberger Drive.
We believe he was mentally abused. He was physically starved, and his body could no longer take the inhumane treatment. Then, Avantae developed a plan to hide Blake's remains, and she forced another person in the household to participate.
They say London Deven, who was an adult with special needs, died the same way. Her remains found in a burn bin at their current home. Avantae is facing charges of 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of concealment of death, 1 count of kidnapping, and 2 counts of felony child abuse. These images sent to us by a viewer show the scene outside her home this morning when she was arrested. The vehicle in the driveway towed away, and animal control on the scene.
Now, Deven has her first court appearance tomorrow at 2:30 here in Cumberland County. Chris?
And Heidi, you know what? Today I actually made a call to the last person listed as Avantae Deven's lawyer. I asked if there was any sort of comment when the person on the other end of the line answered, and they said right now that lawyer is currently at a medical leave. But anytime I have tried to ask for details, I've been told from that office, no comment. And again, just to reiterate what Heidi was talking about a little bit ago, this all sort of kicked off because of that mental health crisis call. A boy telling Fayetteville police that he had not seen his brother, Blake Deven, in 5 years. And that point right there
is just the start of a lengthy timeline of events.
So disturbing. Chris, thank you. Public documents reveal Blake Deven was reported missing in January of this year. Fayetteville police did not ask for help to find him until March 2nd. A month later, April 4th, police added the boy's sister, London Deven, to the search. And on April 8th, the FBI agents and police officers searched the home on Berrydale Drive where officers say the children lived. On April 12th, the department found partial skeletal remains that would take weeks or months to identify, they said. We have a full timeline, including much more from before the children were reported missing on WRL.com.
Oh my gosh, so confusing. I'm still confused. I still don't understand. I can't wrap my head around this. We're talking about multiple jurisdictions, multiple houses. One remains on one house, one remains found in another house. So she literally killed 2 children in 2 different homes. That's what it seems like to me. And then that call, I guess that call last year from someone else in the house, like I guess it was a welfare call or was a call saying, I haven't seen my brother in 5 years. And then a couple months later, she actually makes a 911 call to report that he went away on a Buddhist trip. And then it takes authorities so long to even look into this matter. Months. What in the world? I see failures all across the board on this. I still don't get it. But I'm trying to. And I'm sure you all are too, man. But, how was she able to adopt? And it seems like the way they said it was she was able to adopt children in different counties throughout North Carolina. And then we haven't even talked about her mom. Something's going on with her mom, like her mom died or something. Her mom got sick and died. And one of the reporters was asking the officer, like, yo, is she going to be charged with something to do with her mom? Like, is she involved with the death of her mom by collecting insurance money or collecting money? So that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other type of investigation, possibly. But why doesn't, I don't understand the adoption process. Particularly as somebody that wants to keep adopting, shouldn't they know that, hey, you already adopt somebody. How many people do you want to adopt? And shouldn't you think that when somebody gets somebody for adoption, oh, by the way, his biological mom, you just heard from her. I mean, I'm sure she has adoption regret for, putting her son up to adoption because her son basically went in the hands of a monster. But shouldn't adoption agencies at least look I'm thinking shouldn't adoption agencies do a follow-up maybe? Or some sort of policies, maybe they do in some states. Follow up and see if the children are okay, that and make sure they're in a proper home. I mean, we are hearing horror stories like the houses were hard. You heard from a former child or somebody that was in that house that's speaking out, saying about all the abuse and things that are going on inside the household. I mean, why doesn't adoption agencies look into this when a child goes and go and visit the home as a check, just a follow up, just to make sure they made the right decision by releasing a child to a parent. Unbelievable. But she's so cool and calculated and heartless. She has the audacity to call 911 and lie and waste resources, judicial resources, and law enforcement resources by saying he ran away to a Sherry Owens. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ran away to a Buddhist home or Buddhist camp. But it's that's why it's a capital case. Dude, she literally could get the death penalty on this. And if, again, we always say, the death penalty is reserved for the worst of the worst. She's literally up there as the worst of the worst. And it's so confusing. And honestly, listen to that press conference that we just played with the police. I think the police were a little bit confused too. That's why I'm confused, and I'm still confused. When they were talking and describing, I mean, he had to he was reading from a script, and then he kind of had to go off the cuff a little bit to redeem himself because I think he was confused by what he was reading. Just like I am by looking at all these articles. I'm trying to okay, this child went to, was here at this location. This child went missing then. This child went missing then. Multiple children, multiple households. Now, who assisted her? Who assisted her? Was it a child? Did she actually... Here's the thing about it is, you notice no one else is charged. I'm wondering if she actually forced one of the other children to do things like commit criminal acts or vouch for her. It's wild, folks. But we'll keep our eyes on this. Again, evil exists. You know, and I'm not saying all adoption's bad. We're not putting an indictment against being adopted, because I'm sure some of you out there adopted yourself, or know that children get good in good homes. They do. But man, we do cover cases where either CPS or adoption agencies fail these kids. And we do back the blue. We always back law enforcement on JLR Investigates. We support law enforcement, but in this particular case, right now, just on the information, just on the preliminary information that I take, I give F's all across the board here. I literally give F's all across the board. Even the police chief there couldn't really answer the questions, and they wanted to end that press conference pretty quickly. Suzanne, thank you. Suzanne says, I'm going to read the message Suzanne said. Suzanne says, where in the Department of Children Protective Services? Where in the Department of Children Protective Services? Yet again, failure in society. Harmony Montgomery is one, putting Harmony in the hands of Adam after he gets out of prison is ridiculous and preposterous. I mean, I'm following the Summer Wells case. The one thing I do like about the Summer Wells case is the three boys were taken off that property away. But I think, DCF failed Summer in a sense because there was warning signs and they were there at the house prior and it was too late. But again, not all adoption is bad. I think being adopted is a good thing. And some people, some parents can't have children for medical reasons, whatever. They want to adopt and have a dream home with children. I'm for that, man. Provide kids a wonderful home, wonderful environment, and most of the time, probably adoption is good. But things like this is very, very scary, and it makes me question it a little bit. It makes me wonder, these children are out there being adopted. How do we know they're safe? A woman staggers in there and says, I want to adopt a child. What are the requirements? Does she just have to pass a background check and give them money for application fee, and that's it? And do they do an actual home visit beforehand? I mean, I guess different counties, different policies and procedures in every state's different. But I wonder what else is going on in North Carolina. Hopefully, there's other children that have not been failed in the state of North Carolina. Fayetteville, Cumberland County. All right, let me know what you think. JLR Investigates. We'll keep our eyes on this particular case. Wanted to share and bring awareness. If you know anything about this case, shoot us a message. Me and Magnolia. Tips at JLR Investigates. Make sure you guys subscribe to Magnolia's channel. We got a lot coming out on her channel. We'll put her channel link in the description. I appreciate you guys watching this evening. Let me know what you think. We'll talk soon when more information comes out. Protect our children at all costs, for sure. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk. Thanks, members. Thanks, subs. And thank you for the comments. Keep the comments coming. I'll be reading your comments. I'll be going through your comments and reading and responding to your comments. Pray for our children, man. This is wild stuff, man. Evil exists, man. World is great, but man, oh man, this craziness keeps happening. We just talked about the chick out there in Ocean County, New Jersey. The Jenkins girl, or Elkins girl, that murdered her two children. The Parmalee girl from Missouri. I mean, these are mothers. You're supposed to nurture and protect your children and guide your children and give them a wonderful quality life so they can, be our future generation. Man, but it's just these monsters. Wow. We'll talk soon. Have a good day, everyone. JLR Investigates. Please be safe, everyone.